Hi, welcome to the Cajon City Council meeting. The meeting is called to order, and I'd like to ask the city clerk to call the roll.
All council members are present.
Would you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for a brief moment of silence after? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. The city clerk posted orders of adjournment of the October 8th, 2019 meeting and the agenda of the October 22nd, 2019 meeting in accordance with state law, council and housing authority agency policy. We have one presentation on today's agenda. I'd like to invite Director of Recreation Frank Carson to the podium to tell us all about it. Hi, Frank.
Hello, Mayor, City Council. Thank you for having me today. I want to briefly introduce HauntFest 2019. This is now turned into San Diego County's largest free Halloween event, or Halloween-themed event. It's going to be this Friday, October 25, from 5 to 10 p.m., just outside here in downtown El Cajon. Being that we do get 40,000 people, we definitely recommend people coming early to our event. So just some highlights from last year. We estimated attendance was anywhere from 35 to 40,000. Almost everything was free last year. And we gave out free candy. 27,000 pieces of candy were given out in 5 different locations throughout the event. We had over 400 people compete in costume contests where our downtown El Cajon business partners give out cash prizes. More than 700 faces were painted. And we had over 4,000 people actually go into our haunted maze. And we were able to do this with not only city staff support from all departments, but 137 volunteers. And without our volunteers, we wouldn't be able to put on this large event. Our biggest volunteer base actually comes from the St. Madeline Sophie Center, so we're very grateful for them. So last year we were very successful in our marketing efforts. We did the same this year, where we have our street banners, we do flyers for the school district. More importantly, we have a relationship with the school district. So what we do is on all the Chromebooks, their desktop images, it actually promotes our event, HauntFest, for it. And that's free marketing. So there shouldn't be any elementary school or middle school age student in the city of El Cajon that is not aware of HauntFest. I mean, if they're not aware, they're not paying attention, is what I like to say. We do invest some smaller amounts of money in social media marketing. I want to just highlight some things from last year. So we bought a Snapchat geofilter, and it's basically where we can put an image on Snapchat. It's a phone app that you can do. You can post images and video. This actually has 29%, the largest market share for under 24 age groups. So we definitely want to try to capture that. We had over 31,000 individual users actually engage in that in one way or another. So we're really happy about that. We invested in the last week of last year $50 to market on Facebook. We didn't necessarily need it, but we wanted to see what kind of bump we got from it. And we got a pretty big bump. We got about 30,000 people reached in just the last week. So we invested that $50 again this year just to test it out. And then also last year we invested about $20 into some Instagram strategy and marketing. We only had about 5,000 people use the hashtag. I mean, that's still successful in some books. We're just switching up the game this year on how we're promoting it through Instagram as well. So last year we definitely used the hashtag HauntFest, where that was something we're really trying to promote. Last year, the only thing people did have to pay for were the mechanical rides. You can see we had the DJ stage, where it's a light up stage right outside here at Centennial Plaza. That area right there, the top middle photo, that's just where the roundabout is, right outside here at City Hall, where we have light up ping pong, light up foosball, and the foosball table is about 20 feet long, so people do love that. Some things that are new this year. So we are partnering with the Magnolia, and they're going to rope off or fence off a certain area outside of it, and they'll be serving beverages as well as food outside, and they'll let people come in for free into the Magnolia and watch some movies inside. We're going to do some outdoor movies that are Harry Potter themed, but they want to show the community that it's open, so they're going to allow people to come in through their security and actually be engaged with watching movies. Casper and Hocus Pocus is what they shared with us. Following last year's city council direction and the city manager's direction, we have alternatively made all rides free this year. So when I say this is literally San Diego County's largest free Halloween event, it is literally San Diego County's largest free Halloween event. The only thing people do have to pay for are food and beverages. Everything else is free. Free face painting, games, activities, entertainment, everything. So we are very jazzed about that in many respects. We could not have done this or financially supported it without our partners, most especially the downtown Oakland business partners that carry about half the financial burden of this event. Parkway Plaza Waste Management, as well as Verona Sequan, also donate a lot. And then in-kind-wise, St. Malo and Sophia Center not only support us with the website, but with volunteer bodies, and they run our pumpkin patch as well. Without the adult, mature age volunteer bodies that we get from St. Malo and Sophia Center, definitely would not be successful without them. So very grateful for all of that. That concludes my report.
Thanks, Frank. And thank you for making sure that the kids got to ride the rides free. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Hey, Gary?
Well, this is our gift to the children of the East County. And I've been there every year, and I look around at these smiling faces, kids going on the rides and getting their face painted, and everybody gets together, and they have a wonderful time.
Right.
And I'd like to see more of that. And you've done a great job on promoting this, and I think it's important we had this partnership with the school district. It's a win-win for everybody. We have a lot of kids that live in this area that don't have a whole lot of money, so they can't afford the Del Mar Fair, but they can afford this.
Absolutely.
So thanks. I'd like to thank the staff for everything. They've worked really hard on this every year.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Bob?
You said 27,000 pieces of candy?
Yes, sir. The downtown Oakland business partners makes an arrangement with Costco.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Because kids like candy.
Yeah.
I know.
Unless you're
I
a
know.
dentist. I don't know if there was any dentists in the crowd.
I pass out candy to kids at church.
Yeah.
They call me Sucker Man on Sunday, and I've been doing that for 28 years, and
Right.
so I know how much that encourages them to come and to participate.
That's definitely an extrinsic motivator to get people there.
Exactly. The kids, anyway.
Thanks, Frank. And give our best to all the staff that works so hard. I know this takes
This is
dozens
a whole
and
city
dozens of
departments.
hours.
Yeah.
Great job.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Staff, do you have any agenda changes?
Mayor, we have one change. Item number 11 has been removed. The appellant has withdrawn their appeal.
Okay. How about council? Do you have any agenda changes? I'd like to make a motion then to approve the agenda changes that Mr. Shute has told us about.
Second.
Move and second, please vote.
Motion carries by unanimous vote.
All right, that brings us to consent items. Consent items are routine matters enacted by one motion according to the recommendation listed below. With the concurrence of the City Council, a council member or person in attendance may request discussion of a consent item at this time. Council members, any consent items to poll? Staff? Angela, any speaker cards for consent items?
No card, sir.
All right, I'd like to make a motion then to approve the consent items.
Second.
Move and second, please vote.
Motion carries by unanimous vote.
That brings us then to public comment. At this time, any person may address a matter within the jurisdiction of the City Council, Housing Authority, a successor agency to the El Cajon Redevelopment Agency that is not on the agenda. Comments related to items on today's agenda are to be taken at the time that the item is heard. State law prohibits discussion or action on items not on the agenda. However, council, authority, and agency members may briefly respond to questions or statements, and an item may be placed on a future agenda. Angela, do we have any cards under public comment?
Yes, sir. We have 3 speakers. The first one is Harold Wilson.
Well, my friend and neighbor, Harold. He's actually my next-door neighbor.
My first time here. Been in El Cajon since 2009. Something that's been bothering me for quite a while, and enough so that it's made me come here and speak today. is the amount of noise from cars with loud exhaust, motorcycles with loud exhaust. I've already accomplished part of what I wanted to come here for by speaking to our new police chief. He was very encouraging. So, from that standpoint, there's an app out there that's called Nextdoor. It's kind of like a neighborhood watch. I don't know if any of you are familiar with that, but there's a lot of people voicing their opinion on that. I was hoping to have some more people show up today to this meeting, but and they're concerned, a lot of them, with the speed at which a lot of these drivers are driving. One in particular was stating over on First Avenue all hours of the day and night, and they're concerned that, since kids walk to school on that street, that, sooner or later somebody's going to get hurt from these guys that are speeding. My thing is that it's the level of noise at all hours of night. It's from loud motorcycles exhaust, loud car exhaust, and loud stereo systems in cars. Some of them are so loud that, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, it wakes you up. And if they played the right kind of music, I would ask my wife, come on, get up, we'll dance, while they're waiting for the light to turn. But anyway, it's usually something with a lot of bass. We have car alarms going off, things like that. So, like I said, I was able to talk to the police chief, and he's given me some hope that maybe something can be done, or that they can look into, doing something, stationing maybe some officers in certain areas at certain times. So that's about it.
You see, there any questions for you, Bob?
Really gets on it when they drive up next to you and the whole car shakes because of the loud noise next to you. And I'd like to see that volume down, but I don't know how you do it when you're both moving or as soon as the light changes. So that is a problem.
Yeah, I mean they're disrupting the tranquility, and they're saying that I don't care what radio station you're listening to in your own car, you're going to listen to mine now.
Yeah.
And I know I'm not real familiar with the noise ordinances here in El Cajon, though I'm going to get more familiar. That in some areas you can't hear it more than 50 feet from outside of that vehicle.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Thank you for coming.
Well, I don't know about you, Harold. I'm more concerned about the reckless driving that I've seen. There's a certain group of young people that are racing and driving with no regard for human life. And we're going to have some tragedies. I think we already have. And so I actually had a meeting with the police chief and the city manager earlier this year talking about strategies to try to mitigate some of this. We're doing what we can. What I would like to do, honestly, would be to impound people's cars. I think that would get people's attention pretty quickly, these $60,000 and $70,000 cars. But apparently that's not something we can do, so we're going to have to find...
Well, you don't have to catch all of them. You just have to catch some of them, and then the word will get out.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I'm learning more about it. Apparently, it's really hard to prove reckless driving. It's not so easy. You really have to give people tickets for illegal lane changes and unsafe lane changes. So we're working on it, and we will do what we can. But I think that more citizens getting involved and demanding safety in their streets will probably grease the wheels a bit. And I appreciate that.
All right. Thank you, Bill.
Thanks.
Next speaker, David Chenoweth.
Hello, sir. Welcome.
Good afternoon, Mayor and our City Council. It's good to see you again. I took special interest in our last City Council meeting and your approval of the Code of Ethics and Conduct for elected officials and appointees. And I want to congratulate you on what I think is a fine decision. I supported that entirely. I will say that there was a topic that I found absent in the document, and that's transparency. And that isn't really featured in this document at all. My observation, which has either been in person or it's been as a result of watching this meeting online, my observation over the last 3 to 4 years is we could stand to make some improvements in our transparency to the public. I want to draw your attention to the transparency page. And I believe that it's in the city's best interest, public's best interest, and each individual of our city council's best interest to have a link on that page that directs me, the public, to Form 700s and Form 640s. I don't believe that I should need, at today's level of technology, here at where we are in 2019 going into 2020, I don't think I should spend my gas coming down bothering the county city clerk to make copies for me of these things when all you have to do is archive them and allow me to get them. I actually have that right to have those by law, and it would reduce the cost of providing that document to me as a citizen. So it seems like a really good idea. I know it's been asked for about 30 times. And it's generally been asked for in response to, or Jim asks for this almost every time he stands up. There's a reason he asks for it. He has an issue, and I think there's a conflict of interest on your board regarding his issue. And it should be really easy to discover. All I should have to do is go to the transparency page, take a look at your contributions on this 460 form, take a look at your interest, and that would tell me if I'm talking to people that aren't really going to be supportive of rent mediation when we've got mobile home estates double renting throughout our city and county. That's a subject that over the next year or two is going to get hotter and hotter. But in this case, it's a subject that's cried out by seniors. I know there are individuals that have wanted to help, but as a group, you've heard this over and over again, this request for transparency and this issues on the mobile home park. My observation is an indifferent response, be honest with you. So this would be an opportunity for us to seize this code of ethics and say we really mean it. And we're going to be transparent about it, and you can call us to task anytime, John Q. Public. With that, I'll sit down and be quiet, and I want to thank you very much for this new addition to our municipal code, and we'll look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you.
We have 3 more speakers. The next one is Jim Sirigliano.
Hi, Jim, welcome.
Thank you, council, staff. Real quickly, I'm going to jump around here, being that David talked about these 2 forms. My only really beef is that every time I've requested it, I don't get any response. I've seen people stand up here and ask 5 questions one evening and get responses for 5 questions. Whether you agree or disagree, some input would be greatly appreciated. And about the transparency, I couldn't agree more. This is, I feel exactly what David Chenoweth just spoke about. I did miss the last meeting. The only words I could say is nicotine, okay, about the vaping and everything else. All these products, nicotine is there, okay? The big companies, it's all about nicotine still. And everybody has a different way of dealing with the nicotine. By the way, Juul, the company, I just learned that they are only going to sell, I believe it's their menthol and their regular e-cigarettes. They're dropping the flavored, the company Juul,
Good.
as you know. Okay, excuse me. Let's see, what was, and about Councilman Goebel, you mentioned about the software, about the ID identification. It might be a good idea after the first offense, if they don't have it, that they should be required to have this identification. And also, I would, after the third offense, I would really be hard on shutting them down, or the suspension is what I'm talking about. I would be really hard, because that, as was mentioned at the meeting, the fine really doesn't mean that much, okay? But that suspension after the third time, that should be really hard. at least 90 days. I don't know, at least 90 days. And then I would encourage everyone to go to the CDC, because as we know, this is going to take on a whole different perspective on the national level, perhaps pretty soon. And the CDC is so informative about people wanting to give up smoking or things like this here. And most of them, they do have nicotine. I heard that one gentleman last time said about he didn't like the flavors or something, or he didn't like the regular, and he wanted to like the flavors. But he's still getting the nicotine. There are other forms. The patches supply a little bit of nicotine. However, there are some other products that deal with the brain,
Right.
Chantix, and I think there's a couple other companies, which if someone can afford it, it's great. And I see my time is almost up, but I do just one more minute. I'd just like to say that about a great human being and a true American, Elijah Cummings, okay, as we all know, and I really consider him a true American in the sense, if anyone knows anything about him. And one of his great quotes when we're speaking about things was, we're better than this. And I think that's something for all of us to strive for. He also quoted a poem about I only have 1 minute. And, of course, that I immediately thought about my precious 3 minutes up here every time I speak. Okay, but that's all I have to say today. And thank you for your time. And I still would like a response, by the way, about these forms. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Bonnie Price.
Hello, Bonnie. Welcome.
Hi, sorry I wasn't here. I'd rather have been here last time, but I was in the dentist chair.
Happens.
Yeah, ouch. I wanted to let you know that I think that the city of El Cajon should refuse to allow any more drive-throughs of any sort. I was at the Mollison Avenue Starbucks on a Saturday morning. I could hardly breathe. The cars were backed up out into the street, waiting to get their Starbucks drink. And it was terrible. I must admit I am very allergic to all kinds of chemicals. But I really could not breathe. I had to go running into the diner and get away from the smoke, from the exhaust from the cars. If you send a police officer over there and you can see what's going on, you might get a better representation, because I was only there on a Saturday morning. But others, the people in that neighborhood, the kids especially, get asthma. And asthma is pretty severe. El Cajon already has the dirtiest air in the county, and allowing drive up anything is adding to the pollution of the air. So please do not allow any more drive-throughs. And if you can convince some of these operations not to use their drive-throughs, that would be a plus. Thank you.
Couple questions, Bonnie?
Yeah. Bonnie, if any of these cars are smoking, the blue smoke, usually it's just clean air that comes out of their tailpipes if they have the proper emission controls and everything. But if any of them are smoking, there's a phone number that you can call. You write down the license number, the make and model, the kind of make of car it is, what color it is, whether it's 2-door, 4-door, or truck or whatever, and you can call it into there, and they'll probably check them out and see if they are not smog compliant. That's been very helpful. I know I've done that in the past when I'm going down the freeway and I see blue smoke coming out of a car, and I know that's not good for the whole community, so I've reported a number of them over the years. But you don't see too many anymore. But if you see them, do what I said and report them.
Well, it's auto exhaust.
That's what I mean.
I can't stand either cigarette smoke or auto exhaust.
Well, no, I mean, I'm talking about auto exhaust. And if they are, blue smoke or burning oil, those are the ones we need to get off the road or get them fixed, one of the two. So anyway, I just wanted to pass that along to you.
Thank you.
Where did you get this statistic about El Cajon being the dirtiest air in the county? I've never heard that before.
Well, it's from Gillespie Field, and the city sits with a huge freeway running through it, and Gillespie Field pilots are exuding leaded gas as they take off and land, doing touch and goes. The Chinese are training over there, and there are many new pilot schools, and the government of China is paying for their tuition, so they're busy all the time. People have grime on their fruit. They can't even eat the fruit. They don't spray the fruit. It's just filthy, and people are breathing that.
Was there any kind of a study or anything that you got that statistic from, or?
I didn't read
anecdotal.
I didn't get a study, no, but it is dirty air, and I do know people who have died from conditions related to dirty air, and I would not live in El Cajon to save my soul because, I know I would be dead within a year. That's how dirty the air is.
All right, well, thanks for telling us. Thank you.
Don't go to China. I went there, and the air is terrible compared to here.
I know. I wanted to go, but my friends warned me, don't go. You can't
don't go
take
to
it.
China. It's
you.
not as bad as it was back in the 60s in Southern California, but it's worse than it is here. So
I would suggest that you read the newspaper where it says air quality. You might get some information about El Cajon's air.
okay.
Our last speaker is Elaine Briggs.
Well, Ms. Briggs, welcome.
Good afternoon. How is everybody today?
Great.
I have a question. I am our neighborhood watch captain for our street, and on 10/14, which was last week, the street light went out, and it's pretty dark in that area. So I submitted a comment onto a service request onto the city website. I never got anything back to let me know if it actually went through, so I did it again. And I still got nothing that tells me it went through, but today, it's, 6 days, 7 days later, it is still not fixed, and I went back online to see what it said, and it said the expected close is March 9th of 2021. Now, this is a street light. It shouldn't take that much. It is a concrete pole. Now, I don't know if that means something different. I don't know if SDG&E owns them versus the wooden poles, because it asks you when you're putting in your service request what kind of pole it is. Anyway, I would just like to get it fixed. Thank you.
I'm going to ask Dirk Epperson to come up. He's in charge of Public Works. I bet he has an answer.
I saw him writing something down.
That was my grocery list. Actually, I do have a little bit of information on this. Usually we send out our contractor to fix our streetlights. On 10/16, we notified our contractor. On 10/18, they went out and looked at it. The lamp for that streetlight is actually good. Traced the problem out. It turns out it's an SDG&E problem. And so right now we're waiting to hear back on when the SDG&E can meet us out on site, meet the contractor out on site to remedy this. But we are actively working it, and we're trying to find a resolution as quickly as possible. Usually these things don't take that long, but in this, usually we had resolution on the 18th. And so we apologize for the delay, but it is a problem outside of our control at this time, and we will do our best to get resolution as quickly as possible.
Thanks, Dirk. I appreciate it. You want to come up? Go ahead.
So then my next question is, can't you send an email to me to say, because everybody on the street is coming to me because I'm Neighborhood Watch going, the street light's out. So it would just be nice if there was a closure to the loop.
You know what? You may have uncovered a problem that needs to be remedied. Thank you. I'm sure Dirk's going to take care of that, and we'll maybe come back and report in the next council meeting how things worked out.
No more cards, sir.
All right. Thanks very much, then.
Bill,
Yes.
I think we have some students here today.
Yeah. Well, you want to go take care of that?
Yeah. We'd like to have the students come down. I think I saw 4 of them back there, and there's one over here. Come down to the microphone. Tell us your name, what school you're going to, what class you're taking, and what you intend to do after you get out of school or college.
They appear to be shy.
And I think there's 3 more back there, maybe. So no exceptions.
Okay, hi. What were the questions again, Bob?
Your name, what school you're going to for the class, and what you intend to do when you get out of school or college or whatever.
Okay, my name's Jamie McDaniel, and I go to SDSU. I'm in the social work. And they sent us here. Well, we needed to find a committee to come to and watch so we know how to change policies later. You know, like who to present our ideas to. And so, when I graduate, I want to work with people in recovery, probably, or restoration of families, something like ECTLC, or something like that. I don't know yet. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Nadia Scott, and I attend San Diego State. I am a social work major as well, and today we are here just to see how a community meeting works, to see if it's receptive enough for general community members, to see if they're able to understand, just in case that in the future we may want to change some policies or find better ways for our communities to function. After I graduate, I would like to serve the greater society with military personnel. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Chanel Perez. I am a recent Mesa College graduate, and I am attending San Diego State University currently in the program of social work. And like they said, we're here to see how all this works and what we can do to help our community. And after I graduate with my bachelor's, I would like to get into my master's program for clinical social work and then hopefully get my license to be a clinical social worker. And I would like to work in mental health field with adolescents. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jacqueline Sana. Actually, I've been here before, and I encourage my group. We are like in the same class, and we were confused just where we have to go to get our project. And then I told them like there is a very special place that I like a lot, which is like El Cajon City Council. So I encouraged them. They say, okay, everything is okay. So we came today just to share everything and listen for the meetings here and to get our project perfectly, or let's say like something new. Thank you very much.
I'm glad you came. Thanks.
I thought there was 4 of you. What happened to the other person? Sure. Well, tell her she gets an F.
Well, thank you, Bob.
Okay.
All right. There are no written communications on today's agenda, and we are now at public hearings. Item 10 is the second reading for the 2019 California Building Standards. And staff, would you introduce this item, please?
Hello, Mayor Wells, City Council. You've seen me before. I'm Dan Paval, and you've read my agenda report. This is a public hearing, the second public hearing for adoption of the California Building Codes. It's a process that we go through once every 3 years. The codes are first adopted by the California Building Standards Commission, and then the cities all have 6 months to adopt the codes. So that's kind of what the process is that we're here to talk about today. We try and stay very much in line with the California codes. You don't do a lot of changes. In fact, we've been trying for the last several code adoptions to remove all changes, so we can get kind of back to what the California codes say. There are plenty of codes there, so we don't need to add to them, essentially. And so I'm here to answer any questions that you may have.
Any questions? Thank you for coming. Nice report. All right, we're going to open up the public hearing. Angela, do we have any speaker cards on this?
No card, sir.
I'll make a motion to close public hearing. Second. Please vote.
Motion carries by unanimous vote.
This seems like a simple house cleaning item, but if there's no further discussion, then I'll ask Angela to read the title to each ordinance, and we will have a motion for each title.
For the California Building Code, an ordinance repealing Chapter 15.04 of Title 15 of the El Cajon Municipal Code, adopting the California Building Code 2019 edition as amended by reference, and adopting a new Chapter 15.04 to Title 15 of the El Cajon Municipal Code.
Okay. Please vote.
Motion carries by unanimous vote.
Somebody like to make a motion on the California Electrical Code?
An ordinance repealing Section 15.20.010 of Chapter 15.20 of Title 15 of the El Cajon Municipal Code, adopting the California Electrical Code 2019 edition as amended by reference.
Please vote.
Motion carries by unanimous vote. California Mechanical Code, an ordinance repealing Chapter 15.48 of Title 15 of the El Cajon Municipal Code, adopting the California Mechanical Code 2019 edition as amended by reference, and adopting a new Chapter 15.48 to Title 15 of the El Cajon Municipal Code.
Please vote.
Motion carries by unanimous vote. Plumbing Code, California Plumbing Code, an ordinance repealing Chapter 15.52 of Title 15 of the El Cajon Municipal Code, adopting the California Plumbing Code 2019 edition as amended by reference, and adding a new Chapter 15.52 to Title 15 of the El Cajon Municipal Code.
Please vote.
Motion carries by unanimous vote. California Residential Code, an ordinance repealing Chapter 15.54 of Title 15 of the El Cajon Municipal Code, adopting the California Residential Code 2019 edition as amended by reference, and adding a new Chapter 15.54 to Title 15 of the El Cajon Municipal Code.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Please vote.
Motion carries by unanimous vote. California Fire Code, an ordinance repealing Chapter 15.56 of Title 15 of the El Cajon Municipal Code, adopting the California Fire Code 2019 edition as amended by reference, and adding a new Chapter 15.56 to Title 15 of the El Cajon Municipal Code.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Please vote.
Motion carries by unanimous vote. California Green Building Standards Code, an ordinance repealing Chapter 15.60 of Title 15 of the El Cajon Municipal Code, adopting the California Green Building Standards Code 2019 edition as amended by reference, and adding a new Chapter 15.60 to Title 15 of the El Cajon Municipal Code.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Please vote.
With your permission, sir, I do need to reset the vote.
Okay. Can you vote
Thank
again,
you.
please?
I apologize. For some reason, Mr. McClellan's vote is not registered. Thank you. Thank you. Motion carries by unanimous vote. California Historical Building Code, an ordinance repealing sections 15.88.010, 15.88.020, and 15.88.030 of Chapter 15.88 of Title 15 of the El Cajon Municipal Code, adopting the California Historical Building Code 2019 edition as amended by reference, and adding new sections 15.88.010, 15.88.020, and 15.88.030 of Chapter 15.88 of Title 15 of the El Cajon Municipal Code.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Please vote.
I'm sorry, Mr. McClellan. May I please have your vote?
Yeah. It must be sticking or something.
Motion carries by unanimous vote.
I'm wearing it
And
out.
the last one is California Existing Building Code, an ordinance repealing sections 15.84.010 and 15.84.015 of Chapter 15.84 of Title 15 of the El Cajon Municipal Code, adopting the California Existing Building Code 2019 edition as amended by reference, and adding new sections 15.84.010 and 15.84.015 to Chapter 15.84 of Title 15 of the El Cajon Municipal Code.
Move to adopt.
Second. Please vote.
Motion carries by unanimous vote.
I'm glad the students were here to see that riveting, exciting council movement. We actually had something that would have been pretty interesting, but that was pulled from the agenda. So we are just almost finished here, actually. Kind of a quiet council day. We have an administrative report on today's agenda. Item 12 is a citywide pavement condition report. Oh, that is exciting. Dirk loves this. I'm going to ask staff to introduce us. Is that you, Dirk?
Mayor and Council, this is actually Jeff Manchester, the city's new principal engineer. So I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce Jeff to the Mayor and City Council.
Okay. Welcome, Jeff.
Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Shute. Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. I'm hoping to spice things up with the citywide paving. So,
all right, we're ready. Come on.
So in the paving world, you often hear the term PCI, which stands for Pavement Condition Index. On this scale, 100 is essentially a perfect street, and there are different gradations representing good, fair, poor, and so on. This curve represents the condition of a street as it ages. And really the philosophy that we work off in the Public Works Department is to address streets before they fall too far behind. So we really want to target those preservation activities. And to the side, we've provided just a few examples of what our typical approaches look like, ranging from slurry seal all the way down to full replacement. So covering the city, we have 5 maintenance zones, which we rotate on an annual basis in a clockwise fashion. Prior to preservation work in any given maintenance zone, we typically lead with prep work and stay 1 zone ahead or 1 year ahead. The prep work usually consists of spot repairs, crack refilling, and any concrete improvements that need to be replaced. So what we've tried to highlight here is an animation just showing you how we stay ahead with our prep work. Currently we're in Zone 4 with our slurry and preservation efforts, and we're working in Zone 5 with our prep work. So fast forwarding another fiscal year, you'll see everything shifts, and the prep work is in Zone 1. We'll be slurring in Zone 5 next year with overlay behind. And this is just the following year. So this is a snapshot of what our last decade of work essentially looks like. As you'll see, we've covered a great deal of coverage, actually amounting to more than 60% of our streets. In 2017, as you'll remember, we started receiving SB1 funding, which helped to ramp up our program and coverage even further. So this is what our proposed paving looks like for this fiscal year. To the right is a list of streets we plan on overlaying. As you'll see, we have pretty good coverage planned again for this year. This is a snapshot of what our slurry streets list looks like and what is to be expected. Now for the exciting part. So this is a recent resurfacing project that we did. This is on North Johnson. The footage was captured using our aerial survey equipment. And prior to receiving survey work, North Johnson had a PCI of 40. The project installed a rubberized asphalt overlay, which utilizes recycled tires. Our program has had great success using the rubberized asphalt due to its many benefits, which have included excellent noise attenuation, improved ability to withstand elements, and resilience against cracking. We'd like to share a flyover of our before and after footage of North Johnson. We've been doing this on our arterials just to kind of highlight where we were and where we will be at following the work. So as you can see from the photo on the left, specifically in the number 1 or fast lane, there's quite a bit of patching that we've had to do, quite a bit of potholes that this street has suffered from. And then on the right is where we are today. So next I want to share just a few stats of what our program has done over the last decade. Since 2009, the Public Works Department has installed over 47 miles of asphalt overlay for a total value of $19 million. We've also done 61 miles of slurry sealing for a total of $3.7 million. As you may have remembered from previous presentations, the optimal PCI range is roughly 70 to 80, and right now we're right in the middle of that. To the right is a breakdown of what our typical funding program looks like, which mainly consists of Transnet contributing the biggest piece and SB1 at second. Finally, this is a summary of what our funding program looks like for this fiscal year. We've shown our funding in 2015 just as a comparison. And really the main takeaway is, as you can see, our funding program has grown quite a bit since the introduction of SB1. We're really excited for the things to come. To the far right is just, as I mentioned, the different funding sources that we work with here in Public Works. And with that, I'd like to open it for any questions.
Thank you very much. Let me see this. Bob?
Yes, I travel on Hamershaw Road between Washington and Main Street, and there seems to be a lot of filled-in potholes with cement, and it's not a very smooth ride. And I know probably there's a lot of commercial goes up and down there. I just wonder if we're using are we just using 2-inch thick asphalt, or can we increase that a little bit to because it'll take a better, hold up better than.
Yeah, that's an excellent question. So we actually received a Caltrans grant for that portion of Hamershaw going from Washington all the way to Maine. And with that grant, it's actually through the Highway Safety Improvement Program. We'll be reconfiguring some striping and coming in and doing a new cap on top of that. And typically when we do our asphalt caps, we look at improving our section or adding a little bit more strength to them if needed.
Yeah, and there's another small strip, which I've turned in some electronic waste here lately. I've driven over to waste disposal down that short street off of North Johnson. And I just wonder, I just had on some property that I own, I had them put in 4 inches of asphalt because the trash trucks and the dump trucks, the tow trucks that come in there had torn it up. I just wonder if maybe if we go to 3 or 4 inches on that street, because of the heavy use of the trash trucks, maybe that would make an improvement, because that street was probably never designed for trash trucks when it first was built. So would that be helpful, do you think? Use a little more money and put a little more asphalt on it?
Yeah, most definitely. And one of the things that we're planning on doing, and we're setting this up now, is doing asphalt cores to really see where we're at before we, so we can size the sections properly.
Right. Okay, good. Thank you.
Hi, Jeff. 2 questions. Okay. In one of your slides, it showed that we are receiving about $1.747 million in SB1 funding. That looks like the dark brickish red number. You see that one there?
Right.
So did that money previously come out of general funds? Or I should say, were our road repairs funded out of the general fund, and now we have a new source of funds, which is this SB1 money. That's my first question.
Sorry, I'm flipping around here real quick. I'm going to fast forward to this slide. So essentially, prior to the introduction of SB1 in 2015, you can see what our overall spending looked like, which in those days, and I'm sure Dirk can speak to this much better than I can, mostly consisted of Transnet. There were other funding sources. I believe Indian gaming, gas tax, things like that also made it up. But the main takeaway is with the SB1 is we're essentially doubling our program.
Okay, so I guess the answer is it didn't come out of general funds. It came from other grant sources such as Sandag, Transnet.
Correct.
Okay, sounds good. My second question has to do with moratorium. When we do a full overlay or anything like that, there's some moratorium on construction and digging, isn't there?
Correct.
So on Greenfield Drive, probably just a block away, I think, I can't think of the street, there was some utility work done on Greenfield there. They dug up a $1 million stretch and put in some utility work. Was that because there was an emergency there that required that, or was it an oversight?
I don't have the information. I'll have to get back to you on that. I can tell you that our standard moratorium is 3 years for an overlay and 1 year for a slurry. That's our current practice. However, we are working on upping those limits, which will be before you in a council. We hope to get it this year, actually, to increase it.
Yeah, I'd like to know what happened on Greenfield.
Okay.
By Greenfield Middle School. Something didn't seem right there. When we're investing so much of the public's money into good streets, we want to make sure somebody doesn't come and dig it up again. So that's my concern. Thank you.
Phil? All right. Well, thanks. Nice.
Thank you.
Nice report. Welcome to the family. Hope
Yeah.
that you have a successful and happy career here in El Cajon.
Good.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, then. Any speaker cards on this item?
No card, sir.
All right. If there's no further discussion, would someone like to proceed with a motion?
There's no action. Just to receive the report.
Okay, then we'll just do that then. All right, there are no commission reports on today's agenda. Item 13 is my activities report, which is as reported. There's no legislative report today. Item 15 is to ratify the appointments to the East County Advanced Water Purification Joint Powers Authority Board. And staff, were you? Who are we? Oh, this is okay. The recommendation is the city ratifies appointments of Councilmember Gary Kendrick as the city's primary representative and Deputy Mayor Steve Goebel as the alternate representative on the East County Advanced Water Purification Joint Powers Authority Board. Council, any questions about this?
No. Move to approve.
Let me see if there's any.
No cards, sir.
Cards. Okay. So would like to make a motion? Bob's made a motion. Phil seconded. Please vote.
Motion carries by unanimous vote.
Councilmember Kendrick, your activities.
As reported.
Councilmember McClellan.
As reported, however, I also attended the Rotary Grant Night. Same as Steve Goebel there, too, which was nice to have him at our Rotary Club meeting.
Okay. Mr. Goebel?
Minor as reported.
All right. Phil?
As reported.
All right. There are no joint councilmember reports on today's agenda. Item 20 is for informational purposes only, which is donations to the animal shelter for a total of $307 from Tierra del Sol Middle School. So thank you very much for that, Tierra del Sol. There are no first readings or ordinances today. We read the second readings and adoptions under public hearing today, and there are no closed session items on today's agenda, so that was a pretty painless council meeting. This brings us to the adjournment, the adjourned joint meeting of the Elkhorn City Council, Elkhorn Housing Authority, successor agency to the Elkhorn Redevelopment Agency, held this 22nd day of October 2019, is adjourned till Tuesday, November 12th, 2019 at 3 o'clock p.m. We'll see you then. Thank you.
Okay.